Today I'm reviewing the Samsung 55-inch Class OLED S90F 4K Smart TV, 2026 model. If you want to check current pricing or availability, that's linked below. I've spent regular evenings with this set, watching TV shows and movies, gaming from consoles, and using it as my primary living room screen. What I'm describing here comes from that lived experience rather than just specs. Let's start with the right expectations. This is not an entry-level LED TV, and it isn't chasing record brightness numbers like some premium LCD panels. Instead, it's positioned toward people who care about overall picture quality, smooth motion, and a responsive smart platform in a mid to upper OLED class. In everyday viewing, the OLED panel delivers very deep blacks and broad viewing angles. Dark scenes in movies and shows hold detail without looking washed out, and colors maintain richness even when you're off to the side of the screen. This gives a more immersive feel for cinematic content than typical LED backlights. For HDR, the highlights are strong in practice. HDR material like nature documentaries and high-contrast movie scenes have a noticeable sense of depth. You won't see the absolute peak brightness of some high-end LED sets in full sunlit rooms, but within typical living room lighting, the highlights feel expressive without feeling oversaturated. Gaming is a solid strength here. With Motion Xcelerator at up to 144 Hz, the motion feels fluid, and input lag stays low in game mode. I tested it with console titles and variable frame rate PC gaming. Responsiveness feels good session after session, and the experience is consistent without distracting jitter or smearing. The difference between standard 60 Hz viewing and this 144 Hz behavior is noticeable when you're switching between them. The NQ4 AI Gen3 Processor does a good job upscaling lower resolution sources and managing motion. Upscaling feels natural rather than artificial. Older HD content looks smoother without introducing distracting artifacts. On fast-paced sports, motion processing keeps edges stable without aggressive smoothing effects. Smart TV performance is reliable. Navigation feels snappy, apps launch quickly, and popular services respond without lag. Built-in voice assistants like Alexa work as expected for basic controls, and the interface stays responsive day to day. Audio from the built-in speakers is functional for regular TV watching. Dialogue is clear and balanced, but if you seek immersive sound or deeper bass, most people will likely add a soundbar or home audio setup. Now, honest limitations. This isn't a laser-bright panel designed to compete with top-tier LCDs in daylight-flooded rooms. In very bright spaces with direct sunlight on the screen, reflections are more noticeable and peak brightness isn't overwhelming. That's typical for OLED technology, excellent contrast but moderate peak output. Compared to some other OLED models I've used, the S90F feels very similar in black level and color uniformity. It doesn't leap ahead in every category, but it lands in that reliable OLED zone where picture quality feels consistently strong without surprising flaws like banding or uneven backlight. So who does this make sense for? You want deep blacks and wide, natural viewing angles, you enjoy movies and HDR content in typical indoor lighting, you game with high refresh rate sources regularly, you prefer a responsive smart platform with voice controls built in. It's less compelling if your room is dominated by direct sunlight all day and you care most about raw brightness over contrast. In actual use, this TV feels like a well-rounded panel that improves everyday viewing in noticeable but practical ways. It doesn't chase exaggerated claims, it just performs where most people actually notice it. Check current pricing below and evaluate it against your needs.